kind of the basis of this podcast is just shooting off random shit, because at the moment, with having a full-time job, having to do a ton of shit, and then also having to come in here and kind of create, well, I guess not having to, but wanting to come in here and like just create some fun shit, and just like being creatively tapped out from just like work shit, and then coming in here and having to, you know, mock up some shit. Maybe I can get some assistance from some other people, but no, for right now, we're just fucking winging it, man. Like, that's honestly what we're going for. And we're at the office right now. Obviously, we're in the studio. It's Friday, January 26th. I swear to God, January feels like the longest month in the world. I don't really mind that January is so long, specifically because I've had like 2 just heart attacks. Like, oh my God, like I need to pay rent. And then realizing like, no, the fuck I don't. Like, it's still January. I don't got to pay rent. But it feels like this month has been so long. Like, we got back to LA on January 4th, and I feel like that was like 2 months ago, but it was 3 weeks ago, which is crazy. I mean, I guess that's not the biggest difference, but January's long, okay? 31 days. January's fucking long. But without further ado, welcome back to the Mackin Show. Episode 27, Q Fake Claps. I want to start getting, I wish I had some other people with me, because everyone works here, there, and everywhere, just to sit in some bullshit. And maybe I will get a co-host. I don't know. Like, I like sitting here and talking my bullshit, but with a co-host, you have to, like, you know, make sure that they have time to come in and bullshit around and scheduling and all that type of shit. And that's just hard. Like, I just like to come in here and whenever I got some free time, because, you know, there's not a lot of free time. So whenever I do have free time, come in here and just, like, bullshit around. But no, that's what we've been doing since last episode. It's been kind of heavy on the grind shit with work. Everything from brands to just regular content, trying to get my life together. Trying to think what's new in my life. My ears have been ringing for like 3 days straight, nonstop, other than when I'm sleeping, and that's no joke. Like, legitimately, like, there's a hissing noise in my ear, and it has been nonstop. And low key, that's why I kind of like to come in here and do it, because when I take my mind off of it and when I'm talking and shit, and just like when there's a lot of other noises going around, it helps to tune that shit out. But I've been dealing with that, and my mom's a nurse. Anytime there's anything even minorly wrong with me, I call my mom immediately. Love you, Mom. But no, I called her and just kind of was like, oh, what is this? Like, Google, like, just fucked me again with my thoughts, because I used to never care. Used to even make fun of people for it. Let me just tell you, as I've gotten older, if I feel like there's something wrong with me and I Google it, I feel like it's going to be a million times worse than it is. Like, and I know a lot of people have been like that forever. There's hypochondriac people, etc. I was never like that, but for some reason, as I've gotten a little bit older, if I have a symptom of some sort and I Google it, there'll even be like 3 things that are minor. If I see the major one, I'm like, holy shit, like, I have that. That's me right there. And I gotta not do that, because I never used to be like that. But essentially, I Googled this shit, gave me some possibilities of what it is. Of course, I looked at like the worst possible scenario of what it was, and that's what I think I'm dealing with now. But no, so it's just been a constant ring in my ear for about 72 hours now. I'm really hoping, and this is me speaking to my ears right now, that you can fucking stop, because it's pretty annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But I was watching some TikToks, thank God for TikToks, that like there's certain like exercises you can do from like this to like this to see if it helps, and it helps for a quick second, but that's really about it. And other than that, I can just do so much shit, and I can't really change it. It's just there. I went and got my ears checked by a doctor. There's no ear canal issues, fucking, what's it called, eardrum blowout. My ears are good, so it's definitely something either behind my ears or God knows what. But yeah, I've been on vibrate mode for 3 days now, so that's been fun. Can't change that. Or just like what to do with it at the moment. No, and that brings me to a conversation we were having earlier today with like certain shit. I'll never know how it works, like my ears. Like, I'll never ever know like why is this happening, what's going on here. there's certain shit that I've definitely realized that I never know how it works, and I don't really fucking care to know. Like, in certain facts that I don't really care. Like, I forget what comedian it was. Let me see if I can find him really quick, because I definitely like his stand-up routines. It wasn't him. Nate Bargatze. So Nate Bargatze was on a podcast, and they were talking about the heat of the sun, and some guy was like, oh, it's like 54,000 times as hot as like burning fire or some shit like that. And he's like, I don't care. I don't give a shit about that fact. Because he's like, give it to me with something that applies to me. Like how much hotter is it than like a stove per se, a 400-degree stove and shit like that. I've came to realize I resonate with so much, and like I'm absolutely on the same type of time as him, where it's like certain things that I truthfully have no idea how they work. I don't give a fuck how they work. Like a phone, for instance. How on earth? I get it, right? Like I understand that behind these walls, there's technology. There's like a thing that emits light onto the screen and whatnot. But how does that like mean I can swipe and click to apps and type and go into camera? Like I will never understand how a phone works I wouldn't even understand how a flip phone works. Like how is that antenna up there and that telephone pole being able to let you dial numbers on this piece of technology and call someone from across the fucking country? Shit I'll never understand. I don't care to understand it either. I'm kind of cool with just like not knowing. I'm getting more content with not knowing things. Now don't get me wrong. There are certain situations where I'm as stubborn as they come and I need to know. Like certain things I need to know. Like I 100% need to know, is LeBron faithful to his wife? Because I think so. Other things that I need to know. I need to know, is there life outside of Earth? I don't care anything further than that. You don't have to give it, is there? Like that's just all I need. Yes or no. I need to know that. I need to know, do megalodons still exist? We have not discovered that part of the ocean. These are things that I need to know. What else do I need to know? I'm going to get a list, and I'm going to come back to next week's podcast episode just talking about things that I need to know. But there's certain things that I just need to know. Other shit, I don't give a fuck about. How a phone works, cool. How a plane flies, I get it, right? You go and the wings flap up and then blah. We're talking about how much does a plane weigh? Honestly, let's just do that right now. I was going to make the most asinine guess ever. How much does a plane weigh? Typically, a commercial aircraft is about 220 tons, so about 485,000 pounds. How on earth? I don't care. I know they're revving up and going like 100 miles an hour on that tarmac before the wings flap up and shit like that, but 485,000 pounds, you're getting that up in the air? How? Like, again, I understand. I know that those jet engines are crazy, but like, it can go fast. I'm not saying that like, oh, on the ground it can't go fast. Look at boats. Boats can go fast, but like 485,000 pounds being able to go up into the air, crazy. Obviously, I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh wow, like these are some high thoughts right now, but they're not. They're just shit that it got brought up when I was listening to his stand-up routine, and just things that I just don't need to know. I just don't care. Like, cool. Like, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that I can go in the air. Like, I'm really glad. I'm going to go back to another one of the things that I feel like we should have known. But side note really quick, since we're talking about planes, I don't know if it's just me, but I swear like flying even like 6-7 years ago was like the planes were always in good condition. Like, don't get me wrong, there's always been delays and cancellations and shit like that in flight. But I feel like in the past, since COVID to now, flying has become such a hassle. I used to love to travel. Like, don't get me wrong, I today love to be in different destinations. I hate the travel part of it. I used to love to travel. I used to love to be in an airport. I used to love to get on a plane. I used to love all of that shit. Now I'm just like, oh my God, really? I got to go through this again? Like, God damn it. And as no surprise to anyone else, my guess is probably true, that it literally feels like every time they never make a plane bigger, they're just adding more seats to it, which is fucking crazy because it's just like, bro, like I already had no room before. Now you're giving me even extra less room now. And everything from, I always see these TikTok or crazy videos of like, this plane part fell off, the door that just flew off on like an Alaskan flight, this caught thing, the electric shit won't work, etc. I just feel like there's so many more issues with air travel now than there ever has been. And I'm sure that equates to the airline companies not wanting to spend money. I'm sure cancellations and delays and all this and that come from them not paying pilots and shit. But like, pay these fucking people, spend the money. Like, what, Boeing is worth like $50 billion. Like, bro, just like we want to have some fun travel. Just saying. But yeah, plane traveling is bullshit now. Again, I love being in the different destination. I love being somewhere else and being able to go a ton of places. But the actual aspect of traveling, it's not as fun as it used to be when you have to be responsible for yourself. Fuck. But going back to what I was talking about with things that I feel like you should know, is I saw a tweet about it, that one thing when we were younger that was never stressed to us was that of making an email. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, when you made your first email, people were like, don't name it something vulgar and this and that, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it was never stressed like, hey, depending on what email this is and how frequently you use it from this day on, this is absolutely going to be your email forever. And I got screwed with that too, because when I don't even remember how old I was when I made my first email. I think I was in like 9th grade maybe. And I made a caseywalsh@gmail.com. And lo and behold, of course, I lost the password for that. I got signed out, didn't remember the password. And as like a 14-year-old, like I don't know how to use like settings and call customer service, all this type of shit that well. What do? You make another email. And this one, my last name is spelled Walsh. On my new email, I spelled it Casey Walash, Wlash. And that was my Gmail. And currently at 24 years old, that is still my Gmail. And it has happened numerous amounts of time where I have texted someone, given someone, whatever it is, my email, like, hey, like just email me. And I never got an email from them again. And then I'll either see them in person or contact them again. And I'm just like, hey, like I never got an email. And then I'll have to go through and explain like, oh yeah, my last name is spelled wrong on my email. Sorry. And mind you, I've been using that email for 10 years now. So it's not like I can change it, because do you know how much work that would be to like contact everyone who's had my email that would still email me, subscriptions that I use that email for, all this, like I would legitimately have to go in and change that email, then go change my Netflix and Hulu and this and that. I'd have to go change my gym, like all this type of shit for one letter switch that happened when I was 14 years. That's crazy. Like I absolutely think when you are younger, and to anybody watching this that either is around, whether you're a teacher or you have little siblings and cousins or shit, or you just have the possibility to be around someone and be like, yo, take your email seriously, have it be your real name, or at least something that like isn't going to screw you when you're 24, because you are absolutely going to keep this email. Like I have two different Gmails. I have a Yahoo, and I swore I had one more, but all because when I was younger, I just couldn't get a grip and fucking make the right email. So that's what personally I think should be taken seriously when it comes to decisions you have to make, or things like I was talking about earlier that I would just love to know, and go about a different way. But no, so that was my end rant on that. Shit's been good. Been binge watching some Netflix actually, because one of the Netflix, there's two things, and that's why I always say I will always, even though when Netflix every 6 months is like putting out a tweet or something like that, like, hey, like we're thinking about, increasing your subscription a little bit more. It's like, Netflix, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't want you to do this to me. But then they just give you so much heat from like Netflix originals like Stranger Things or Outer Banks or Riverdale, or I'm trying to think, Ozark. Like, Netflix is giving you some just extremely heat shows. They're also giving you absolutely amazing documentaries. And there's no doubt in my mind. There's no comparison at all. No HBO, no Hulu, no 30 for 30. Nothing in the world beats a Netflix documentary. They literally do it the best. Like, I don't know what their secret formula is. I'm sure they'll never tell, if there even is one. But nobody beats Netflix when it comes to documentaries at all. And they just came out with a new documentary called American Nightmare, which is fucking crazy. Shout out Vallejo PD. Not really. You guys suck. But it's this documentary that's kind of like a real life Gone Girl, but like flipped, where they thought it was going to be Gone Girl, but it wasn't. She was telling the truth. Where this one psychopath dude from Northern California kidnaps this girlfriend and like does it in a very tactical, just crazy way, and ends up dropping her off back home like 48 hours later, all good, kind of. And then once it happens, the police department is just like, oh no, you were lying, like, fuck you guys, you made you made us use all of our resources, like all this type of shit. And no one believed them for like months, and they had to just sit there like, what the hell? And they were going to get charges brought against them. Then another case happened like 50 miles away somewhere that kind of the same MO. They find evidence that might tie to their case, whatever. This goes on for a little while longer. Anyways, they were telling the truth. She did get kidnapped in the middle of the night because they thought it was the boyfriend, but then they thought the boyfriend and the girlfriend were like trying to win one over on the fucking police department. But basically it just like was real, that girl got kidnapped, and the same guy that did that to her did it to like other people and shit like that, and he was like a psychopath. But that documentary is absolutely crazy. I definitely recommend you go watch it, because obviously all I have to say is Netflix documentary, but this one is just crazy. And then Caitlin just put us on to a new show called Fool Me Once, which is like mystery, true crime, Netflix. I don't know this yet, but I feel like it had to have been based off a book. It just gives me book vibes, that like the way the acting is, the way that just like the plot is. I'm just like, I feel like this was a book at one point. So I'm going to check that out. But Fool Me Once, absolutely crazy documentary, absolutely crazy Netflix show. There's only like 8 episodes. We're on like episode like 4 or 5, but it's just like woman's husband goes missing, then might not be missing. She has ties to government, military shit, etc. Super good. And that's definitely going to be my new binge. Griselda with Sofia Vergara, I know is going to be fire. That came out last night. And I've been waiting for that one to come out, because when I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, this is heat. So when I needed it the most, because I think it was like one of, what was I going to say? The last podcast episode when I was talking about that I definitely needed new shit to watch, because I am a serial rewatcher of shit. Movies, TV shows, whatever it may be, fucking music videos. And I've just been on this hole of just like rewatching the same thing over and over and over again, unless there's like a new YouTube video out of people I fuck with. But finally, 2 new shows. Thank God. Thank you, Netflix. And speaking of YouTube, another thing that officially came out, and it's going to be coming out once a week, every week, is called Read the Room, Josh Richards' sketch comedy series. I was very lucky to have been able to play a very minuscule role in one of the episodes, and I can't wait. That one, when I was talking to a couple of the people that helped produce and make it, that one isn't going to come out until like later in the season, but he had a viewing launch party for the first episode. We got to go to a theater and just kind of like watch it and everything like that. It's actually very funny. Like, and I'm close to Josh, like, you're closer to Josh, so it's just like there could be like maybe bias there, but I don't think so, just because like I usually, even in this world, when we'll be around people and shit like that, I'll be like, oh, that's not really that cool, like that's not funny, whatever. Not in a mean way, but it's just like, oh, I just don't find that funny. When I was watching this, I was like, okay, like it's not corny funny, it's not like rated G, it's not like, but he definitely tests the lines a little bit. It's like real life comedy, and like it actually looks like a just high production sketch comedy, which is sick. Like we were sitting there watching, I was like, what the fuck? Like the transitioning from everything. So if you haven't go watched it yet, definitely watch it, because the writing's awesome. Shout out Xavier and their whole crew that just like helped put that together. And no, it's cool. I cannot wait to see, because I've only seen this one episode that we saw at the viewing party, and then like 30 seconds of another episode. So, and they look super funny to me, so I can't wait to watch the rest of it. But your boy's kind of an actor now. I could put that on my resume that I am an actor in a sketch comedy. I know a couple episodes ago, it was coughing and fucking sounding like shit. Now it was yawning because these last 2 nights in a row, shout out Josh's sketch comedy series. These last 2 nights in a row, I've gotten so much good sleep because I finally discovered what ZQL was. And the root of that, obviously, is because when you're sitting up at 11 p.m. at night and, you know, your ears are just fucking ringing, that's not really, like, the funnest thing to, you know, go to sleep to. So I figured, I was like, all right, like, I need something to, and I already, like, stay up super late anyways. So I was like, all right, this is not a good mixture here. So I need something to knock me out. Called my brother, because, like, he always has colds. He always needs, like, well, whether it's melatonin or Benadryl, whatever it may be. He's always on that vibe of, like, needing help to sleep. And so I called him. I was like, all right, what's the best one to get? Something that will just knock me right out because I definitely need that shit. And he's like, oh, you definitely need ZQL. And took it. And it's one of, like, 2 nights in a row. And I'm really hoping this can happen, like, every night in a row. But 2 nights in a row, took the ZQL. 15-ish, 20 minutes go by, me, whatever. Then I started feeling a little drowsy. I do not remember going to bed either night. And then I just remember getting, like, woken up. That's it. Like, I don't remember, like, because usually you wake up on your own. You're like, oh, there we go. 2 nights in a row, I just, like, Emma had to wake me up, like, hey, get up. And I'm like, oh, shit. Something else that I like, and this is a free ZQL ad right here, but whatever. When I take Benadryl, I wake up in the morning feeling like shit. Not like feeling like shit, but just like groggy. It takes me like literally probably like an hour and a half to just get, even after coffee and a cold shower, it takes me a minute to just like get out of that funk. ZQL, 10 minutes. And then I'm back up. I'm like, oh. So shout out ZQL. Your boy has been having some good night sleeps the last couple nights. What was I going to say? What I was talking about next? Oh, it's honestly so funny that I saw a tweet about Austin Butler, where obviously when Elvis was coming out and then after Elvis came out, people were just clowning him because they were like, dude, like, give it up. You don't need to just keep talking like Elvis Presley anymore. And then he came out and was like, yeah, but I spent 3 years of my life basically in isolation in Elvis world to become Elvis, because like he basically method act that whole thing. And he's like, I became Elvis. So like, this is how I talk now. And you'd even see him in interviews, and I'm talking like 2 years after Elvis came out, of like, yeah, still talking like this. Like, and I was like, yo, Austin Butler, like, Kaya Gerber cannot sit here and be like, God, I love this. Like, she probably wants Austin Butler's voice back. And he came back in an interview and said that he had to go to a dialect coach. Like, playing the role of Elvis fucked him up that much that he had to go to a dialect coach to not sound like Elvis anymore. Like, that's kind of fucking crazy if you ask me. Like, I don't even know what that would feel. I just shook my head so much. I don't even know what that would feel like. Like, imagine, like, you do an accent for a little bit, and then you wake up after a little while, and you're like, I can't go back. Or imagine you do a London accent, if that sounds Londonish, and you can never go back to whatever accent you had before. That would be crazy. I don't know if I'd be scared or just like, fuck it, I guess I'm Elvis now. Like, no, I feel like that would be crazy. That, I don't know, like the fact that you'd have to literally go to a teacher to like have them be able to tell you like, yo, you really need, like, I'm going to help you not talk like Elvis anymore. Like, you need that help. Like, that's crazy. That's how dedicated Austin Butler was to the role of Elvis. What was I going to say? Oh my God. So we talked about it last podcast episode, but we finally got the Taylor Swift meets Bill's Mafia crossover, and honestly, it was awesome. It wasn't really like, you didn't see a shit ton. You saw a couple clips of Taylor, but Jason Kelce stole the fucking show. Like, absolutely. Because, you know, like all games, Travis Kelce scores a touchdown or the Chiefs do anything, you're going to see our girl Taylor Swift in that suite. And you did see her. Like, they showed her a couple times, like, chilling out, having fun, whatever. But Jason Kelce stole the show with his, like, he was made to live, play, and just be a Northeasterner and, like, just a Philly / Buffalo type person. Like, if he was a Bills fan, if Travis Kelce didn't exist and Jason was just there as a Bills fan, I wouldn't think twice about it. And he had his shirt off. He jumped into the crowd and was just drilling back beers with fans. Like, he picked up this little girl and had her come over to meet Taylor. Like, he was screaming. Like, he was the epitome of having an amazing time. Like, I looked at that like, goddamn, like, that must be so fun to hang out with him. And his wife Kelsey was funny. I guess Jason was talking on him and Travis's on New Heights podcast, talking about like that his wife was just like, hey, don't don't embarrass us, whatever, blah blah blah. And he was just like, I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna take my shirt off and jump into the stands and like pound beers with people. Like, that's what's gonna happen. And she just had to sit back and be like, okay, like, cool. And best yet, it was the first time of them meeting Taylor Swift. Like, imagine how awesome that would be, that your first time meeting Taylor Swift, you can just get obliterated and it'd be awesome, because that's just like, you have a fun personality. You can do that. You're at a football game. You guys won. Like, that must be so cool to be like the first introduction. And that really always makes me think, like, I really wonder what Taylor is like in person, where it's like, because like, she's by a long shot one of the most famous people in the world, no question asked. And obviously she has access to so much shit. Everyone has little access to her, but it's just like, I wonder if you, because again, she grew up in Pennsylvania, lived in Nashville for a little bit before she became famous. So it's like, all right, you didn't grow up like a famous person's kid. You didn't grow up with like insane wealth. Like, she didn't grow up poor, but she didn't grow up with insane wealth. And like, she grew up in the Northeast. So I'm just like, I wonder what like the real Taylor Swift personality is like. Cause like, again, before Travis, she was just dating really just famous entertainers, like whether it was people in movies or other singers. And I was like, oh man, like, maybe she, is a certain way, like doesn't want whatever. And now going to Travis Kelce, I'm like, okay, like maybe you are just like a good time. Maybe you are just chill as fuck. Like, you can vibe with anyone. Like, became super good friends with Brittany Mahomes right then and there, and like shit like that. Like, clearly having a great time with Jason and his shirt off and just fucking jumping in like just having a great time at football games and stuff. So yeah, I just really wonder what she's like, because she's probably fucking awesome. Shout out Taylor Swift. But I think it's set in stone, where it hurts me that the Chiefs have to play the Ravens, because if you're asking me in my heart of hearts, who do you want to win, Chiefs, Ravens? Ravens, absolutely. I want Lamar Jackson to get a Super Bowl so badly, but this playoff specifically is so tough, because I'm fine if the 49ers don't get it, fine if the Chiefs don't get it. If the Lions and Ravens both win, I literally don't know if I'll be able to root like specifically for one team, because on one hand, the Lions winning it would be awesome, because they haven't even made the playoffs in like 30 years, let alone either they don't have a Super Bowl ever, or the last time they had a Super Bowl was like 100 years ago. And then the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is just fucking awesome. Like, Lamar Jackson is just a bro. Like, he's awesome, and I would love to see him have a Super Bowl too, because he's just goated, and that would just be very good for him to get a Super Bowl. But the Lions too. So like, I want both of them to win their conference championships. And then I guess I'm just going to have to root for both teams. Like, whoever wins, fuck it, great. But anywho, going back to the script, there's no chance the Chiefs do not make the Super Bowl. Or at least, like, if it's not written in stone in the NFL, like, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl this year, something's going to be happening behind the scenes to make sure the Chiefs, like, Roger Goodell is going to get in his car and accidentally go, like, just hit Lamar Jackson or some shit, or whatever it may be, because, like, the opportunity is right there to have Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. Never been done before. And it's so close to them having it. Because obviously the Super Bowl is such a star-studded thing. You had something like Taylor Swift in the mix. Ooh. And it's a Super Bowl. So if Taylor Swift's going to the Super Bowl, she's bringing her close friends of Gigi Hadid, Bradley Cooper, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, fucking Selena Gomez, like this, like the NFL needs the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl. They need it. Like, I just feel like that's definitely going to happen. Weirdly enough, because I know they annoy some people, I really don't dislike the Chiefs at all. I like Patrick Mahomes. I like GOATs. Like, I think that's sick. So if they get to it, fantastic, but it just sucks they have to play Lamar Jackson because I love Lamar Jackson. So that's my end rant on that. And Taylor Swift being in Buffalo with Jason Kelce was fucking electric. And then talking about GOATs, it was also funny because, so this brings me back to another fun time that I don't think I've ever mentioned on this podcast before, but when I had my first podcast ever in the basement of my parents' house with my friend Mickey, we had a segment on Kevin Durant. And obviously this podcast knows I'm a big LeBron guy. I kind of went in on Kevin Durant. I was kind of mean in that podcast, said some unsavory things to Kevin Durant. It was about 2017, 2018. It was the move to the Warriors, and I had a lot of hate for Kevin Durant. I'm not going to lie. Kevin Durant saw me post that podcast clip, took to DMs, decided to DM me about the podcast, and told me to go fuck myself. And that's when I was kind of on the Kevin Durant bandwagon. I was like, hell yeah. Like, the thought of people at a very high tier not being like, I hate, like, to think that, oh, their assistants are doing this or blah. Nah, Kevin Durant, like, runs his social media, absolutely. You see that guy tweet, there's nobody else that has access to that fucking Twitter, absolutely. And if so, it's, like, got to be, like, a brother or, like, a cousin, someone very close to him. Because, like, the way that dude uses social media to truthfully just come on and just, like, be a hater is fucking awesome. And he came on social media again because there was question. I think Kev asked the first question on if he's in the GOAT debate. I don't think he wouldn't be. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously he's not going to be top 3 on the list of, like, a GOAT debate, but just, like, I mean, the man has 3 finals, 2 finals MVPs, I think 1 or 2 MVPs. I think he was Rookie of the Year, one of the greatest shooters of all time. Like, I don't see a world where Kevin Durant isn't on a GOAT list. Fuck you though. But I think it's pretty set in stone that, like, yeah, I'd put him on a GOAT list. I don't know what number, I don't know whatnot, but yeah, I would probably have to, even though he ruined a good 4 years of LeBron fandom for me until LeBron came back 3-1. But if he wins one with Phoenix, that would definitely elevate it even more. I don't care that Devin Booker, and because what's his name from the Wizards, Bradley Beal, doesn't even, like, really ever play. So I'm not hearing this, like, big 3 talk. Like, it's just him and Booker, and then obviously the rest of the Suns. But I feel like that could solidify him in a higher tier GOAT debate, 100%. But shout out my boy Kevin Durant, fuck you. But shout out to you, killing it, fuck you. I saw that Coachella came out, that, and people are like, that Coachella has been selling Coachella tickets have been selling so low that it's, like, alarming them this year, that, like, there's not a lot of ticket sales. And it's like, what the fuck do you think? Like, you're having a festival that costs almost $1,000 to go to in the middle of the desert with this very niche like, I feel like we were talking about this in the office, that the Coachella lineups used to be so badass, and now they're just, like, they're taking people that just toured already that year and are just, like, are super, like, obviously if someone loves fucking Lana Del Rey, they're gonna love Tyler the Creator. Like, we're talking about, like, those, like, kind of, like, wannabe hippie LA, New York fucking type people that just, like, yeah, man, Tyler's my fucking favorite, or, like, I love Lana Del, like, and that's who Coachella is, like, going to. And then obviously with Coachella, you have your shit where it's just like, okay, like, this is just a fucking influencer fest. No one really cares about this shit other than to take pictures on that one winding fucking stair, like, walkway. And then no, so I don't disagree with, like, why their tickets are, like, who cares about Coachella like that as much anymore? Like, I'd much rather, and obviously that's because that's my genre of music I like more, but I'd much rather go to Rolling Loud. Like, Rolling Loud seems so much more fun. Like, obviously better artists by a long shot, a lot more artists too, and I feel like Rolling Loud always just gives you a better show, especially the Miami one, which I definitely need to go to at some point. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Coachella's ticket sales are low. Unless they make like serious changes with like who is headlining and just like the whole vibe of Coachella, like they just need to absolutely fucking just revolve. Oh, that was a bar. But yeah, like people being able to have all this crazy luxury and shit. And I get it. I know that's how the world works. Been here long enough to get, you're at a certain stature, you get to do this. But people don't give a shit about that as much anymore, truthfully. Like they're just like, okay, fuck you. Like I just want to go to this festival in the middle of the desert. Like, so no, I don't. I do believe that their ticket sales are definitely that low. Like that's okay. That's not surprising to me, is what I meant to say. So, not surprising to me all that Coachella's ticket sales are low. One thing that would be definitely a high ticket seller that I would pay probably $1,000 to go to is a Trump debate with Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. Smith came out and said he would love to debate Trump and he would just eviscerate him in a debate. And where I don't think either of them would necessarily do well, because like Trump is Trump and Stephen A. is not a politician. Like, I mean, given if their debate was on something they both have knowledge in, then fantastic. But no, I just think it would be an awesome screaming match that Stephen A. wouldn't let him get in a word. He would just say some fuck shit, and it would just be awesome. Because like going back to Shane Gillis' comedy sketch, which is so true, that it's like Trump, the dog, is just trying to like get in your head during a debate. That's what he does. You can't get in Joe's head. Joe's not even in there. But yeah, Trump just definitely tries to get under his opponent's skin, and then that's just like how he wins, because he just gets the other person so riled up that it doesn't even matter. And obviously Trump's people, his group of people that love him, are going to love that. They don't give a shit if he answers like, how are they going to help economic repercussions in this, blah, blah, blah. They don't give a shit about that. They're like, all right, like making sure our taxes are low, oil is cheap, the border is set, and that you shit on that man right there. Like, that's all they give a shit about, truthfully. As long as, like, those things are set, Trump people are fine. And he can probably, like, bullshit around the first three and just keep saying border MAGA, taxes MAGA, etc. But then he's going to shit on the other person. And this is going to suck for some people, but objectively, Trump is absolutely hilarious. Like, when you see this dude's interviews and the shit he does and says, like, he's objectively an absolutely hilarious figure. Regardless, push all the other shit aside, what comes out of his mouth, other than obviously fucked up shit, what comes out of his mouth is absolutely hilarious. So seeing that guy debate would be awesome. Seeing him debate Stephen A. Smith would be fucking awesome. And Stephen A. Smith and him don't have any beef, so it would kind of be fun because they don't really like dislike. I mean, maybe Stephen A. has beef with Trump, I don't know, but they don't have any public like they've ever been in the same room or talked to each other before. So I feel like that'd be funny, and I would go to that. But speaking of beef, it just came out today that Ariana Grande and oh, I just got a text from someone I was reading. Sorry. Yeah, that I guess Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion have some beef. I guess they both sent like shots at each other in the raps that are coming out, which I don't get in female rap. If stuff goes on behind the scenes that we don't know or see, but I feel like female rappers beef with each other so much more than male rappers. Like, don't get me wrong. I know you had your Drake and Meek Mill, and I know you had your like Chicago people who would always beef with other Chicago people and whatnot. Like, I get it. There is obviously beef in the male category as well. But I feel like as time goes on, there's so much more beef in the female category. And I also feel like a lot of the beef in the female category comes from Nicki Minaj. And like, I don't know if Nicki Minaj is just like a hater or like what the deal is, but I feel like she just beefs with a lot of people. And maybe I'd have to go back and look, and maybe it is just Cardi and now Meg Thee Stallion. But it's like, why are you trying to be with other people that are just like out here being as big as you? Like, no one ever is going to sit here and question that Nicki Minaj is one of the biggest female rappers ever. But like, why are you beefing with Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B? First off, beef with Cardi B. Why would you do that? Cardi B's fucking awesome. Like, no need to beef there. Why would you beef with Meg Thee Stallion either? Like, what'd Meg do? Like, I don't know why Nicki gets in beefs with other, unless, like I said, unless either something that no one knows goes on behind the scenes, or they're all talking to each other behind the scenes, like, yo, let's beef with each other. Let's pretend to beef with each other. Like, I don't know. Nicki definitely seems like feisty. Like that time when she came at Miley Cyrus on stage, I think it was at Billboard Music Awards. Miley, what's good? But Nicki always just seems to beef with people. So hopefully she won't keep that beef up, because we can't have that, Nicki. Come on now. Another thing. So I don't know if you guys know who Drew Walls is, but Drew Walls is the tripod guy, and tripod guy went viral on Twitter because he would post these daily routines, or like what I did this evening or whatever. And clearly it's like of a lot of things, of like showering, running to Target, parking his car at the aisle, checking out, making himself all this type of stuff, that very clearly he had to set up a tripod with a phone to film that scene, which means like parking his car. He stopped his car, got out, set up a tripod, drove his car back around and put it in the spot and shit like that. So people were clowning him like, yeah, this is, what the fuck is this? Like, this better not be my son. A tripod guy better not be my son. If my son is a tripod guy, no, don't want that. But then people, which is so funny that this happens, but people hated him into the NFL, and Drake, of all people, co-signing him and, like, you know, working alongside of him in a way where the NFL made funny videos about it, but then Drake makes his own video, which obviously is just like just comedic coming at it, but he made his own tripod video talking about Drew Walls, and, well, not talking, but just like referencing what Drew Walls does. And this man, Drake, is so fucking sassy. Like, just the way Drake, like, personal life goes, he's just sassy. Like, when you see this dude make videos and do stuff that's just like not high produced and edited, he's just so sassy, and I love it. Like, he's zesty. He's one of the girls. Like, I love it. And Drake, because like he was laying in front of the fire, he was blowing his hookah and his drink, he like coming out of the shower with his robe on. Like, I don't know if there's a better celebrity who understands what the joke is going on around him and just ingratiating himself into that, where it's like, because Drake did say in an interview one time, I don't know if it was with Rob Lowe or Zane Lowe, sorry, with Beats, or who was interviewing him, but he was just like, yeah, like, it was after the 21, like, when that meme came out, and Drake was like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'm a, like, movie character in some people's like, in their lives. Like, people want to characterize me like that, and, like, it's fun. Like, I'll play it up. And he knows that. So, like, when the 21 stuff happened, when people say he's acting zesty, when people say, like, oh, like, he plays up to that so well, of being, like, the light skin, do all this type of shit. And I think that's done nothing but serve him well, because, like, it shows, like, oh, he's in on the joke. He's making fun of himself, too. Like, GOAT. Like, Drake is so fucking good at that. So he just did this, and the Anita McSween, that one, and I truthfully think Drake's one of the funniest rappers out there too. Now, given he does have years under his belt at being able to be an actor too on Degrassi, but I just think Drake is so good at being able to play up, like, that character and just go fucking crazy, fucking sell his shows and shit like that. And another thing about selling shows that it's crazy for me to see, because don't get me wrong, I want to go to some too, and, like, I get the appeal of them, but it's crazy, and I'm manifesting one for this bad boy one day. It's crazy to see, like, podcasts doing countrywide tours now, and about to be world tours. Like, again, they're not selling out fucking SoFi and the O in fucking London and shit like that, but doing countrywide tours for a live podcast show is crazy. Like, what I mean by that is, one of them, just because I know Leo Skeppy just got done with, like, a 7-city tour for his podcast, and it looked sick. Like, everyone loved it. Everyone, like, it sold out. Like, looked like it was having a great time, and he just sitting up there preaching his shit, and people love it, which I think is sick. But then Tana and Brooke with Canceled, they're going to, like, 30 plus cities of, like, 1,500 people rooms, all sold out for, live podcast. That is crazy. And it sold out in like 3 hours. Like, that's insane. And it's not insane to where it's like, I know how much people love that podcast. I know, like, Emma will be watching that podcast and I'll be watching it with her like, oh yeah, this shit's fucking entertaining. Like, it's cool. They have themes, like all this type of shit. It's a good podcast. It's just crazy to me to think like, damn, like that's kind of becoming like a new thing where it's like, if you do have like an interesting podcast or like you talk some fun shit, can have some cool guests on, whatever, like you can tour with that. So I'm very curious to see like how that plays out and just like what they can do after that. Cause I think that like, you know, if you get successful enough with a podcast, like personally what I would love to do is like have this podcast be so big and people love it that podcast turns into like a legitimate like talk show almost, where it's just like there's really no difference at all from like Jimmy Kimmel having Jacob Elordi on and fucking Alex Cooper having the biggest guests that she always has on. Like they're like, other than the fact where it's like it's in front of a live studio or it's in front of a live audience and it's on network TV. Like there's really no difference at all. And I'm not even talking about the views they get. I'm talking about the basis of the show. And I guess once we get how many people do love it, like how many people tune into Alex Cooper, how many people tune into Part of My Take, Joe Rogan, Impulsive, etc. Like the only difference between those and a Jimmy Kimmel or a Jimmy Fallon or whoever, is a Kelly Clarkson, is just that one of them's on network TV. And I would love to be a TV show host. I feel like that'd be so fun. And being able to hopefully do it one day with fun guests and shit like that in a podcast would be sick. But going back to Tana and Brooke, I definitely think that they're just going to continue to be able to sell out shit, which is cool. And I'm wondering when, because right, if you think about it, like people like Kevin Hart and, you know, Dave Chappelle, like the big dogs can sell out a Madison Square Garden to sit there and tell jokes, which given they're great at fucking doing and it's a great show. But I'm like, all right, like you don't necessarily just have to be a sports player or a musician to sell out an arena. Like comedy made that crossover where I'm like, okay, you can have a different profession to do it. So like now with podcasting, I'm like, all right, is there going to be a podcast that people love enough where they do get guests, they have whatever, where they can sell out a stadium too? And I definitely think it could happen. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. But now Tana and Brooke fucking kill it with Canceled. So I'm excited to see how their podcast goes. I think that's going to be sick. I'm trying to think. Oh, one thing I love, and we just binge watched it for the first time the beginning of last year, I think, but that mob wife aesthetic is still in. And given I'm not from the island, and what I mean by the island is I mean Long and Staten. I'm not from either of those two, and I'm not from Jersey. But being from New York, that part of my state's culture is not your content. It's not. People still dress like mob wives, and that's just an everyday Tuesday. But no, I find it funny that mob wife aesthetic is like a real thing where they're wearing the big fur coats and like the glasses and like the hats and shit like that. But like they're legitimately dressing like any female that would hang around Tony Soprano. And I think that's awesome because I feel like 2024 should be the vibe of Soprano. Just like in every aspect. In business, grind hard, make some good money. With girls, mob wife aesthetic. With life, eat a shit ton of Italian food. Like I definitely think 2024 should be the Soprano aesthetic. I think that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for a mixture. I'm going to go Soprano entourage aesthetic. That's going to be my vibe for 2024. But I just find it so funny that mob wife aesthetic is coming back around. So I just think that's sick. What else? Ooh, speaking of TV/movie, me and Emma were talking about it and whoever's watching this, I want you to comment also like what yours would personally be, where Emma asked me the other day, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? And if you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what could it be? And I'm going to add one. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Not like type of food or region, just like one food, like pasta, burger, piece of pizza, Chipotle bowl, whatever. But going down the list, I said if I could only watch one movie for the rest of my life, it'd probably have to be like Wolf of Wall Street or The Hangover, because you get some funny in there. You get some just like cool moments in there. It's not like dark. It's like uppity movies. They're long. There's shit ton of stuff taking place. So I'd probably say The Hangover or Wolf of Wall Street. If I could listen to one song for the rest of my life, geez. I remember, like, I know this is bad that we were just talking about it too, and this was tough, where it's like I'd probably have to go with like fucking. It would definitely have to be a Drake song. I just don't know exactly what Drake song that would be, but artist wise, I'd say Drake. But if I'm sitting here right now, if I could go one Drake song for the rest of my life, it'd probably have to be either like Headlines or Pound Cake, honestly. Or honorable mention with Blem, because Blem is just a fire song. And if I could only eat one food for the rest of my life, it's absolutely, positively going to be a Chipotle bowl. 100% going to be a Chipotle bowl. So we're going Wolf of Wall Street and Hangover. Blem. Fuck. I just had it. Pound Cake or Headlines and Chipotle bowl would be my food category, my song category, and my movie category. And if you had to do artist, if I could only listen to one artist for the rest of my life, it'd be a tie between front runner would be Travis Scott, and side note would be Drake. So maybe I'd throw Yosemite in there too, because that song is just heat. But yeah, let me know, someone comment or whatever, of if you could only listen to one song, watch one movie, and eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Because that's fucking hard. You can't, and it's like you can't do anything else other than that. You cannot watch another movie. It's not like, no. You cannot listen to another song. No. And you cannot eat another food. What are you not going to get sick of? Like, so that's me personally. And yeah, because I'm just a bowl guy. I love bowls. And I just recently got heavy on the Sweetgreen vibe. And my favorite thing, because there's a Sweetgreen right at the first floor of our building. And one thing I love about Sweetgreen is that, because I got to make your own bowl, because I finally found the shit I love in it. But a lot of the stuff I get in it is like the extra stuff from, like, I get like an avocado, I get their corn, like, and it's all extra pricing, whatever. I kid you not, every time I have gone to Sweetgreen, it has been a different price every single time. Sometimes it's $15. One time it was $21. Sometimes it's $19. I think if you add all of my stuff together, technically what my Sweetgreen salad should be is, I think, $22, which again I know is ridiculous. That's why at first I didn't go as much. But now my meal is different every time. It ranges from $15 to about $20 to $21 every time, and it never is the same. It'll be 15 this, 16.72, fucking 19.12, like anything like that. It changes every time, and that's why I love Sweetgreen, because I go in there curious every day, like, what the fuck is this going to cost today? So I think that's cool. Shout out Sweetgreen. Also, when we were talking about NFL, shout out to Kristen Yuzik. I don't know if anyone saw Taylor wearing her man's jersey, but as an awesome puffer coat. And the woman who made that, Kristen Yuzik, is Kyle Yuzik's wife. He is a fullback for the 49ers. And she's a designer, and she just kind of mostly did it in-house, where she would do it for 49ers shit, and then she made some for Brittany Mahomes, one for Simone Biles, and I forget who else. But she would just make these really sick pieces that, like, were jerseys and shit, but they were made into puffer coats, a vest, a this, a that, and it was, like, cool as shit. Taylor made it, or she made one for Taylor. Taylor ended up wearing it to the game, and she just blew the fuck up. Because don't get me wrong, obviously it was part of because Taylor wore her thing, but her shit's sick. Like, her designs are cool as shit, and her husband was out there hyping her up the whole time, which was cool. But no, the actual designs are just, like, so fucking cool. It was, like, what she's been able to make with that. And now she's got, like, her Olivia Culpos, her Taylor, her that. Like, I definitely see, because she posted about it jokingly, but I definitely see her being able to do business with the NFL at some point soon. Like, them licensing, or her getting licensing from them and then being able to sell her designs in the NFL shop, because I guarantee you a lot of people, especially a lot of people in those cold areas, are going to fucking cop that. And I just think it's so sick, because, like, you have your husband who's an NFL player, and, like, you might have a hobby, or, like, what do I want to do? Boom. You blow the fuck up because your designs are sick. Like, that's cool. And I definitely want one of those one day. I don't know what player, but I definitely want one of her designs, because I think that's sick. And how she sent it to Taylor is, I guess she sent a couple pieces to Brittany Mahomes before, and Brittany wore them. And she sent a Travis Kelce puffer jacket to Brittany, being like, hey, like, you know, not like, if you could give this to Taylor, that'd be sick. If not, great. But at least just like, she doesn't have to wear it, but just like, if you could give it to her, that'd be cool. And then boom, Taylor pops out with the jacket. Obviously, everyone goes crazy. She's wearing her man's jacket. The jacket's sick. Who made that? All this type of shit. And she just blows up. Like, before that Chiefs game, she was at like 100K followers. And right now, she's at about 770K. Like, that is ridiculous. And she's like actually like super talented with it. So I think that's sick. And she's probably going to definitely pop off more with the NFL. So I think that's sick. So shout out to that fashion. Another thing with fashion is fucking Zendaya. Like, Law Roach, her stylist, I don't think has ever gotten a look wrong. Like, legitimately. Like, if Zendaya's known for one thing aside from being an actress and like being a good actress and being fucking just Zendaya, it's going to be that she ate every look possible that she's ever done ever. Like, let's say post Shake It Up. Like, every time she goes to any fashion show or steps out at any award show or steps out at any premiere, I'm seeing at least every news outlet, this and that, look at what she's wearing, and it's all fucking heat. Like, it's like, that dude knows how to dress Zendaya, and she knows how to eat. Like, it's crazy. Like, the picture I saw of her at the Valentino show was like her in this like black dress. Her hair was kind of like looking all futuristic and shit. And then someone else tweeted like, yeah, Law Roach knows exactly what the fuck he's doing, because like, he's dressing her, making her look all futuristic, and Dune 2's coming out. And I was just like, I don't know how some people are so fucking good at shit. I really don't. But Zendaya just pops off everywhere she goes. I just had to do an honorable Zendaya mention, because she's one of the biggest of the big, obviously. And also, side note, I'm a big Tom Daya / Zom person. I love Tom Holland. Also, fucking love Zendaya. So this whole bullshit, people creating rumors of them breaking up, you stop that shit. You stop that shit right now, because they're going to get married. If they don't get married, I'm going to be affected. My daily life is going to be affected if Tom Holland and Zendaya do not get married. So you guys need to stop that shit right now, because they're having a great time. So chill and let him make another Spider-Man and just chill. And that's all. Oh yeah, and this weekend, hopefully we're doing a Hot Ones challenge where we're getting all like the Hot One sauces, and we're going to see who can make it the furthest and get past all the sauces. I know firsthand, Jamie, at least, that we're doing it with her and her friends. Jamie is horrible at spicy stuff. Like, she ate something that was literally like lightly mild one time and just was starting freaking out because she thought she was going to die because it was so spicy. And it was funny because I was like, bitch, you're not going to die. Like, chill. But no, we're hopefully going to do the Hot Ones thing soon. And obviously, Sydney Sweeney broke the Hot Ones internet when she was... I will always find it funny, the thirst over Sydney Sweeney on Twitter. Because don't get me wrong, Sydney Sweeney is beautiful, like, obviously. But the way people tweet, like, when it came out, Sydney Sweeney's going to be on Hot Ones, you would just see all these tweets like, oh, my neighbor's going to think that, like, a dog's howling at the moon all night. Or just, like, all this type of shit. And, like, this one guy posted a picture being like, yeah, I can never get my kid to sit still for anything, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, it's just the kid plastered in front of the TV watching Sydney Sweeney doing her hot ones. And it's just like so funny of like how people react to her doing shit. But I think that's awesome. But no, that'd be a dream to go on hot ones. Sean Evans is fucking awesome. And I would love to do a hot ones. And I want to see him do a hot ones. He's already done one with Will Ferrell. I would love to see Travis Scott on a hot ones. I would love to see Drake on a hot ones because he's funny as shit. I'm trying to think. Shane Gillis on a hot ones would be funny. I'm trying to think like other celebrities that I think would be like really funny on hot ones. Like, one of the Kardashians would be really funny on a hot ones. Tom Brady would be funny on a hot ones. LeBron would be great. I'd like a Zac Efron hot one episode. Zac Efron would be a good hot ones. Yeah, I think those hot ones would be so dope because I think Kevin Hart already did one. But yeah, his platform's just fucking sick for that. So yeah, that's another manifestation that I just really need to do my own hot ones episode. But hopefully we could do it this weekend because I feel like that'd be fun. I've already done it once before and made it through all the sauces. Obviously we didn't like lather it on there, but made it through all the sauces, which was good. And yeah, so that's my manifestation for at one point in this near future is that I can be on hot ones and that I could also, because at Josh's sketch comedy series, there's a kid, Blake, who was in one of the episodes that I was talking to. And he's been in 2 Mr. Beast videos now where like he's been one of like the subjects of like, oh, if you do this, you get this or whatever. And I really want to be in a Mr. Beast video. I'm pleading. I would love to be a subject in a Mr. Beast video. I would really love that. And it's funny that because he probably just found a new way to fund shit where he posted one of his full YouTube videos as a test to Twitter. And he was just like, oh, this one got like, it was like 245 million views or something like that. He was just like, here's how many views I have. Like how much money do you guys think this is going to generate with X revenue? And he let people vote and stuff like that. And it came back that he made $250,000 off of it. Now he thought it was skewed a little bit because advertisers bought spots under his post to like, obviously if your post is getting viewed 200 million times, like you're going to want to put your brand down there and shit like that. So he thinks it was possibly somewhat of that opposed to just X paying him the money, but still he made $250,000 off of a Twitter video. And I just called it Twitter at whatever. But I think that's kind of sick. So I'm going to wonder if he's ever going to post more full length YouTube videos to Twitter, but that remains to be seen. But Mr. Beast, you kill it and everything. I would love to be in one of your videos. I don't even care what it is. You could trap me in something and I'll be on an island. I don't care. I would just love to be in one of your videos. That's all. That's another manifestation for this year. But no, I'm excited for what's to come. Got a lot of stuff coming up soon work-wise and shit. I think it's going to be really fun coming up on the weekend right now, which is going to be super fun. And yeah, honestly, like I love being in this studio, man. I really do. I love just sitting here and bullshitting and talking about stuff. And we're, like I said, I know I say it after every episode, we're going to get fun guests. We're going to get people to come in here and bullshit around and talk. And, you know, it's going to be fun. So I can't wait for all that shit. But I appreciate whoever does want to come and listen to me talk my bullshit and stick around for that. But until next time, peace.